which is awesome. And by the way, this is now part 2, because I just ran out of time for this. So then they find out, they go down to Oscorp, and this is the stuff that they show. They do show the goblin suit. They do show the Oct tentacles, but they don't show that much. They show the goblin outfit, and then they show the spider venom. And he injects himself with it. It cures him for a little bit, but then it makes him worse. It makes his skin worse and worse. And how he found out about it was Felicia Hardy told him about the spider venom. So when he injects himself into it, it makes him worse, and he goes and puts on the goblin outfit. And now the reason why Harry was wanting the spider venom is like how I explained before. He watches the files. His dad gives him a thing that actually turns out to be a file. And in the trailer, like with all those names and stuff, that's what this is. And so when he finds out that, hey, this is the same stuff that Spider-Man has, so he goes and talks to Peter, and he's like, Peter, I'm dying. I need Spider-Man's blood. And Peter's like, I don't think he would be good with donating his blood. You don't know what it's going to do. So then he talks to Gwen, and he's like, I'm going to help Harry. So he goes and talks to Harry as Spider-Man, and he's like, I'm here, you've been looking for me. I want to help you, Harry, I really do, but I can't give you my blood. And he's like, you're supposed to protect people. I'm protecting you now. And Harry is like, you're a fraud, Spider-Man. You don't give people hope. You take it away. So then we get the final fight with Electro, and he's at the electric grid, but Peter doesn't want Gwen to come with him. So he webs her to the car, and he's like, don't hate me, I love you. And she screams his name. But what's awesome is Electro kills power to the whole city. And there's 2 planes flying in the air that could crash into each other if they don't get power back on in time. So him and Electro have this awesome fight at the power plant. And he's like, look, Spider-Man, it's our destiny to fight. Or something like that. And he's like, with all this electricity, I will become a god to them. A god named Sparkles? Spider-Man delivers a joke. We get this awesome fight with him swinging around, throwing stuff at Electro. And Gwen even says to Peter, have you tried magnetizing your web shooters? He's like, no, I haven't. And that's why you were second best at Pembroke. Don't rub it in. So then, when he fires the web at Electro, just got a text message. The web goes down to his web shooters, and he throws Electro, and then Gwen Stacy comes and hits Electro with a car, and Peter and her go at it again. He's like, you can't be here. You can't be here right now. And so she's like, this is my decision. You don't make my choices for me. I do. So she's assuring Peter that, hey, whatever happens, it's my choice, not yours. And so then he's like, look, if I can attach these if I can connect the power lines back together, I can stop him, I think. Give him too much power. And that's what they do. Peter webs the things back together, and Gwen turns the power in the city back on. And then that stops Electro, because, it makes him explode. So then, after that, we get another scene, which I was like, okay, so where's the Green Goblin coming in? All of a sudden, here comes the Goblin. I was like, crap. And Peter's like, Gwen, stay there. And then he looks. Green Goblin this time, it's mutated. He's mutated. That's why he's so crazy. Is because the mutation from the Venom. And he's like, Peter, when you said Spider-Man said no, you meant Peter said no. What did you do? What you made me do. You don't give people hope. You take it away. Now I'm going to take away yours. So Harry takes Gwen and flies around. Peter tries to get to her. But then he's like, Gwen's trying to talk some sense into Harry. And he's like, Harry's dead. So then he's like, Peter's like, put her down. You want to fight? Fight me. Put her down. He drops Gwen. And I was like, oh, Peter, you better catch her. He catches her, and they crash into the clock tower. And he puts her down. He's like, I'm going to put you down right here. All of a sudden, we get this amazing fight with Goblin in the clock tower on the glider. Peter's, swinging around, shooting webs. And, he does, this thing in the trailer where he spins around on one and kicks him in the face. And then, when Gwen falls again, he catches her with a web. And she's holding on to it. I was like, oh, my gosh. This was me in the seats with this scene. I was like, oh man. And so, we get some more fight with Goblin. They do show a razor bat in this film, but it's not one of the throwing ones. It's actually a knife. He pulls out something and it comes into the form of a bat, tries to get Peter with it. Peter moves, and then he shoots webs and puts it around Harry's neck, and then like when the webs finally go back, and Peter has his foot caught in a gear, right? So the web snaps, and it takes Harry flying back, and he hits his head, and it knocks him unconscious. Gwen falls. I was like, no, 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 no. Peter jumps. He shoots a web. And what was awesome about this web, the web went from like a little strand to turning like into a hand. And it catches her. Peter's falling. He grabs onto a pole, and when he grabs onto it, all of a sudden you just hear... When I heard that, I was crying. Yes, 21-year-old man in a Spider-Man outfit went to Spider-Man, not in the Spider-Man outfit, but was crying at the loss of this character. Even though I knew she was going to die, I didn't want her to die yet. I was kind of thinking that they were going to have her die at the beginning of the third film, and then have Mary Jane come in and then build a relationship on that. But sadly, no. Gwen dies. And it was the most depressing scene in this film ever. I cried in a couple scenes in this film. The scene with him and his aunt, I cried. This part of the film, I bawled my eyes out. This was a scene done well right from the comics, except it wasn't at the bridge, which I'm okay with. They did it right. You know, Harry dropped Gwen, he saved her, but she kept falling, and he saved her, and then she died. And so then we do get the funeral service where Peter quit being Spider-Man. He has stopped being Spider-Man for good. Or for a while. Or he thinks it's for good. And he's visiting Gwen's grave every day. And he just stands there for hours. And so then we get the scene of the guy in the hat going to Oscorp, talking to Harry. He's like, now that Spider-Man's gone, this city will not know what's going to happen. And I hear you want to start this group. What did you have in mind? I want to keep it small. Everything that you need is already at Oscorp. Do we have a volunteer? And they say yes, the guy who was arrested recently. He really wants to join in. Send him out. Now, this was a scene in the trailer that I was really hoping for. This is where the guy actually walks into Oscorp, and we see the stuff. We see the tentacles from Doc Ock. We see the vulture wings. And what we see next angered me, made me so mad, I was about to stand up. They showed the Rhino suit. Rhino does not appear, actually, the Rhino suit does not appear into the very end of the film, which kind of made me angry because I was really wanting to see this. You know, they're having 3 villains, so why put the villain that they've shown a lot in the trailer at the very end of the movie? But what made me mad is there's an alternate trailer of the Amazing Spider-Man 2, and it's in my morning segment video about the Amazing Spider-Man 2 before this video. It talked about how they were going to have the symbiote be shown. And when they didn't show the symbiote, I was so mad. I was like, what? You guys had the perfect opportunity to show the symbiote, because it honestly does look like we are getting a Venom film, and Venom is going to be developed by Oscorp. So when they didn't show the symbiote, I was really upset. I was mad as can be. I was like, no, why? And so then, like, everyone's talking about how Spider-Man is gone. And then we get a show back to Peter with his Aunt May, and she's like, you know, it's a shame about that spider guy. You know, it seems like the world really needs him. And they say even the police is upset that Spider-Man is gone. And so she's like, every time I pick up Ben's stuff, I get lighter and lighter. And Peter thinks that she's giving his stuff away. And she's like, no, I'm just putting where it belongs. You know, and then he goes upstairs, and this film actually ends kind of the same way the first one did. In the first film, he listens to a recording from his Uncle Ben before he died. In this one, it's Gwen's speech. She had it recorded and, I guess, put on a flash drive. They never actually show how he got it. So that they never showed. That didn't kind of make me mad, but he listens to her recording, or her speech from graduation, and she's like, keep hope alive, even when there seems like no hope, what else is there to live for? And so when he hears that, she's like, you know, she talks about how we become who we're supposed to be, and he opens his closet, and he looks at the Spider-Man outfit, and then we get show of the guy in the Rhino suit, causing destruction and mayhem, going like, I am the Rhino, you're take me more seriously now. Blah, 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 blah. And then this little kid who is going to be like a awesome actor or awesome man in the future is wearing a Spider-Man outfit, goes under the yellow tape, puts on a Spider-Man mask, and like is getting ready to do battle with the Rhino. And then all of a sudden the real Spider-Man comes out and he's like, "Hey, Spider-Man, thanks for taking up for me while I was gone. Now go back to your mom." And so he's like, he gets a megaphone. And he's like, "Of all the citizens of New York, will all criminals and real rhinos put their hands in the air?" And then he's like, "I will crush you. You want me to come down there so you can kill me?" "Yes." "Okay, I'll be right there." It's good to be home. So then he takes up a cover from the streets, like a sewer cover or a manhole cover, and then he throws at Rhino, and then the movie ends. I personally hated this ending because it wasn't how I was wanting them to do it. What I was wanting them to do is it show maybe like a couple months, maybe Peter's back as Spider-Man already, and then, you know, it's been months, or maybe even a year, maybe. And, you know, all of a sudden, knock at the door, Mary Jane, face it, Tiger, you just hit the jackpot. That would have been a perfect ending because it would have been right along with the comics, but they'll probably introduce Mary Jane in the third film. Now, before I go, back to what I said earlier about how Filmmaster Adam was like, this film is all plot, no story. What he meant by that is Filmmaster Adam, who is my favorite reviewer of all time, he epic film failed Iron Man 2, which I can see why. I personally liked it, but the reason he failed it was because he felt like it was just a movie to show off, to set up the Avengers, no real story for Iron Man. And that's what he kind of means by this film. Because they do so many hints with the Sinister Six, and I get where he's coming from. You know, it's all basically, Amazing Spider-Man 2 has a little bit of a story, but what the point Filmmaster Adam was trying to get is that it the setting up the Sinister Six overshadows the real story. And that's kind of what I understood. That does suck, but there's a lot of good things in this film that really work. The only things that did bug me is that the symbiote wasn't in the ending like I thought it should have been. Harry Osborn's dialogue was awful. And, they didn't explain the suit. Now, if you've watched my morning segment video, you know that there is graphic novels based on this movie. And the graphic novels do show Peter in the old suit, but he has to make an old one. Now, those were the only things that made me mad. Do I recommend watching this film? Yes. I recommend watching this film. I even recommend buying this film on Blu-ray. Guys, I will be putting the alternate trailer of The Amazing Spider-Man 2 in the description box in part 2, which is this one. And I will be putting a trailer. I'll be putting trailers from the first trailer in part 1. But guys, tell me what you think. Did you like The Amazing Spider-Man 2? Did you like this film better than Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2? Did you like this film better than Spider-Man 3? Guys, comment below and let me know. And be sure to tune in for my next review, which might be coming up very soon. Have a good day, guys.